What is that? Is that a door? I think this is a cabin now. I'm gonna call it a cabin. It's nice to have a front door. Look at that. It is a ways off the ground. I built this thing on posts. It lets me store stuff underneath it and should help against frost heaves a little. And I gotta say, I'm pretty pleased with the work that's been done. Cabin's a mess right now, but you have to trust me. It's completely level, which I don't know. I'm gonna call it impressive. It's 100 degrees warmer than it was when this cabin was built, and it's still exactly in the same shape as it was before. It's not on the ground or anything. So I'm gonna call that a success on the way to a larger success. Roof still isn't on. It's not work that I want to do by myself, so I'm going to wait until somebody wants to ride out with me and stand on top of the roof in my place. I really don't want to do that. But with these lofts up, this one's temporary, but that one's here to stay with some extra work to make it more stable and pleasing to the eye. There's no rain in here. It'll rain a little. I had tarps up covering the roof, but they got blown off. It turns out it gets windier in the summer, but they kept a lot of the rain off the roof and the snow off the roof in the winter. And there's just those little cracks at the top that it rains through. Other than that, it's pretty dry in here. So I brought out shelves and a table, and I did a lot of hauling last week. Brought a lot of stuff out. So I got a nice food supply. I have 10 gallons of water, which is very nice to have. In the winter, I kept my water in this cooler, and I had to warm it up pretty often with melted snow, which tastes bad. I think I talked about that before, but it really isn't good. No, it's pretty disgusting. It's like tree tea, except all the parts of the tree that you wouldn't want to make tea out of, like the pine needles and stuff. Gross. But now I got 10 gallons and it's not going to freeze. So I can stay out here for a while. I cooked pancakes today. Last night I had lazy spam musubi. I think I was covering the microphone right there, but yeah, I can cook some pretty good food now. At least by my standards. No bears have shown up, which is, it's nice to know that they're not trying to mess with this cabin yet, but it also is kind of offensive. I thought my cooking smelled pretty good. Either way, this shelf is reserved for tools of the trade, I guess. Machete has been extremely useful. It's a jungle out there. A lot of devil's club, thorny stuff you don't want to even get near. Thorns stay in your jeans forever. But you can clear it out with the machete pretty easy. And of course the bear gun. The bear gun is a Ruger Super Red Hawk 44 Magnum. Nice thing about the Ruger revolvers is you can put a pretty warm load in there. It's 1,500 foot-pounds. It's, I think, 340 grain Corbon, which is enough for grizzlies. I haven't seen many grizzlies in this area, but there's loads of black bears, and that'll stop a black bear for sure. But I'll definitely go deaf if I try and shoot it. It is loud. I did get another gun, though. I'll show you guys in a second. Here's the tent. I took the rain fly off, and it's just the bug net now. There's the LED lights in the middle. They are pretty nice to have. They plug in by USB. They change color too. So if you want red light for night vision and such, or just for the mood of it, then you can put red lights, green lights, purple, whatever color you want. Here's the battery. I use this red battery to power the LED lights, and the black battery for the speaker and the phone. I listen to a lot of music out here, and pretty fun, especially when there's a thunderstorm or something, which for some reason last week there was a few scattered thunderstorms is what the weather said, but that just means that it'd be clear skies and then a thunderstorm for 10 minutes, drench everything, and then clear skies afterwards. Pretty weird. Here's the loft. I have stuff up here drying. They got wet after the second tent collapsed over the winter. Actually, not even over the winter. It collapsed in the summer, which surprised me, but I guess the tent poles got brittle because they splintered. But the tent that collapsed was a $5 Walmart tent. I used it for backpacking, but I don't know, I'd spend $20 for a tent like that. There's some building materials and all that. Nice little cot and spent 22 casings. Because I got a new 22. Actually, my first 22 that I personally own. It's a Ruger Wrangler. It's a single action revolver. Pretty fun, pretty fun. I set up this mini shooting range, which is actually just the trail that I walk up. But that just means it'll be easier to pick up the trash. And you can see if I set out cans and spaghetti cans and stuff out in the bushes, I would never be able to hit it because I couldn't see it. So it's pretty fun. And here is something that might be as fun as the 22. Electric fly swatter. Mosquitoes here are bad. They really are. Alaska has a reputation for mosquitoes, and I can tell you why. It's because there are a lot of them. When you walk outside the cabin, you get an instant cloud of mosquitoes around you. And I use bug spray. I'll talk about that in a second, but I use bug spray, and even then, they're not trying to bite you, but when you walk through the bugs, you just hit them. So there's this cloud of mosquitoes trying to fly around, and you just walk through them. You can't swing your hand without hitting like 10 of them. But in the cabin, there are close to none. So this is the mosquito coil that I brought out here yesterday. I got 20 of them on the recommendation of a friend. He said the candles don't do anything, but the coils do. He was right. I got these candles over here, and they're nice because they're a little safer, I guess, to breathe in. But the coil is the one that's doing all the work. Keeps the bugs out of here. Last week when I didn't have the coils, there'd be mosquitoes coating the tent. When I wake up, they just follow me out here. Right now, hardly any. And I also switched over from DEET to picaridin. So DEET is pretty effective. It'll keep the bugs off you for an hour or two. But I don't really wash my hands out here. So I don't want to spray this in my face, first of all. So I spray it on my hand, right here on the palm, and then rub it onto my, like the sides of my forehead. I don't do it above my eyes because when you sweat, it'll drip down there. But when you go and eat some Skittles in the tent, you get some DEET in your mouth, and man, it made me nauseous for a day or two. And it was just generally unpleasant. And it melts plastics, which means you can't spray it anywhere near the tent. You can't spray it on certain clothes. So it was kind of a bummer to have to use that. Now I have the picaridin, which is not as effective as DEET, but if you spray it on yourself pretty good, it'll work. And I sprayed some on the tent because it doesn't melt plastic on the bug net, and it keeps the bugs off too. So when you walk outside the tent, they don't just swarm on you. And I haven't eaten any of this yet, but I don't plan on it. However, it's supposed to be non-toxic. It is odorless, so it is pretty nice to use. And of course, a microwave. That was the only thing I cooked with in the winter. In the winter, anything below 10 degrees was risky to use propane, is my opinion on it. Because there's gaskets in these cylinders, and if they don't seat, it leaks propane everywhere. And that means a fire. Anything below -10, and there's no chance you're going to get propane working. So there were a few instances where like a propane heater would catch on fire and you throw it in the snow and stuff. And actually a couple summers ago, I blew up propane in my face. I'm hesitant to use it. So in winter, I just use the microwave, and I could take out Hot Pockets and TV dinners, and it was really nice to be able to just microwave it up. Can't keep anything frozen out here anymore, but I have food shelves, and I can warm up beef stew, all that kind of stuff in the microwave. And that means less dishes, so I'm all for it. Look, I even got a trash can now. Brought it out yesterday. But that is about it for this video. Goodbye.